Hey guys, this is Alessio coming at you before the episode to say thanks to some very special friends of ours. I wanted to say thank you to Sean Loser, Dean, Chase Cortez, Terry Wolf, Matt J, AKIRCEVIC, Ben Lewis, Winfred Casters, who, by the way, will have a very special 150-word message read on a special interview that is upcoming, Henrik Ness, Scott Fox, the one and only, Michael Nilsson, Joshua Wiley, Brady, Louise Marine Jr., Josh Shearmer, Jack Keating, Matt Smith, Nick Ziegler, Will Frechette, Joseph Hanawalt, Tori Cortez, Tyler Nunez, Joshua Mason, Stephen, I think it's Chynn, Chynn, Jamie Christopher, Joey Kusera, Zach James, Akira Birdman, Brandon Parks, Joshua James, Sam Whitaker, Kyle, Cole Duncan, and our newest friend, Adam Gard. So yeah, thank you guys so very much. This episode would not be possible without you, and this show would not be running to this day if it was not for you guys. So I just wanted to throw that out there here at the top of this episode, and there will be more to say to our lovely, lovely patrons on upcoming episodes and our outer op. So enjoy this episode. Thanks, guys. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, welcome to a very, 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 very special episode of Metal Gear Mondays, the Games Club style podcast covering all things Metal Gear from top to bottom, left to right, inside and out, in pseudo-historical recreational order. As always and forever, I am sometimes your host, Alessio Summerfield, and this week, we're bringing you a very special episode if you didn't hear it before. We interviewed David Hayter.
Wow.
We did it.
You're not even going to let us introduce ourselves before you.
I'm sorry.
We don't need that.
Wow.
Who am I joined by?
Wow. I don't even know if I want to tell you anymore. No, I'm Sam Wright.
And I'm Isaac Panda Bear Lim.
What?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's for the Renton episode.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Come
we
on,
got
guys.
Grizzly
I'm
Sam.
Sam Kuma Bear Wright. And that's Isaac Panda Bear Lim.
I love it. And I'm Alessio Camera Bear. Yeah, this is a fucking momentous occasion of magnitude not yet tracked on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. We did it, you guys. I think as of when we recorded with David, it had been roughly 2 months from the time we interviewed with Cam.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2 months, we went from no cast members to like
most of them.
most cast members. It's nuts, you guys. This whole thing has been such a surreal journey, and this is insanity. This episode existing is one of the craziest things that's ever happened in my life.
And the crazier thing of it is too, the only one we've done in person, which is wild.
And it's fucking David Hayter.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing, it was shot and recorded in a closet.
Yeah. We were in a catering cabinet.
We were
toe to toe, quite literally, with David Hayter.
I think so.
Cool.
I think my favorite thing about the whole interview, aside from how surreal it was to be talking to David Hayter, right before we started recording, David's on his phone and he just goes, "Hey, you guys seen Billy Corgan on a roller coaster?" And it's like, "No, what?" And then he showed us this video of a Smashing Pumpkins song superimposed of a roller coaster going. It's fucking hilarious, and you need to watch it. So.
I will say from that moment, I've shown that meme to so many people, and I've been like, "Hey, have you guys seen this?" And then they'll watch it and be like, "That's fucking hilarious." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know who showed that to me for the first time? David Hayter." And they're like, "What?" Well, usually they're like, "Who is that?" But then certain people are like, "What?" But yeah, you guys, this is wild. I just want to say massive shout out to Emilio with the Renton City Retro. Emilio Morales, and just massive shout out to everybody working for Renton City Retro and just being so kind. I'm not going to lie. I think we should give a little bit of context. We didn't realize, I still don't think we quite realize just how legitimate, I guess, in a sense, the podcast has become. And so when we were going to the Renton City Retro, it never once crossed my mind to reach out to obtain like press status. And I didn't realize it until like a couple days before. And I went, oh, fuck. We should probably reach out. I know it's probably too late, but I at least want to let them know that we're coming. And so I emailed the contact email and I said, hey, like we run this podcast. We're going to be traveling from across the country. I know it's a little late, but is there any way we could get time to interview somebody, or can we get a press badge or whatever? I don't know how this works. Can we make something work? And they responded, and they were very kind. And I believe it was Emilio directly, because if you listen to the episode that comes out before this, he calls us those Metal Gear assholes.
Yeah.
In good spirit.
Yeah. Like not like.
Yeah, he didn't mean it.
And like, all credit to him. He was just like, we could probably find you something. We'll find you sometime. And true to his word, he did, and we were able to sit down with David for a time, thanks to Emilio, and he didn't have to do this because, of course, we did not reach out in time for a press thing, but he let us have time with David, and we got our interview. So all shouts out to Emilio and Marcel and Tashia and all the people that work on Renton City Retro for having us and for allowing us to have this dream making opportunity. Honestly.
Dude, it felt like the scene from Anchorman with the jazz flute, because we 100%, I mean, we didn't bring gear to record at the show other than like a little handheld recorder. And I didn't expect it. Like I thought, okay, we're going to approach David, we're going to give him the elevator pitch, and we'll just schedule something for outside of the convention time. And hopefully just talk to him over the internet like we have been. But then it was actually David who was like, oh, no, I want to do it while I'm here. He was like, when I go home, I'm home. Yeah. So when I'm here, I want to work because I'm working. And so we were like, oh, okay. And then we were just sort of like, guys, we got to put together a quick like kit. It was very like, Ron Burgundy, come to the stage. And we were just like, we're not ready, as we pulled microphones out of our sleeves. Like, but yeah, I do want to tell this embarrassing story. So we set up some phone recorders in the room. I set up the handheld recorder in the room. We set up a bunch of backup contingencies just in case anything went to hell. And then I set up the actual main microphone, and I set up our microphone. And I was so starstruck and nervous that I didn't realize until about 2 minutes into the interview that I was not rolling on David's microphone. And I looked down. So David was looking down at the floor at the recorder. And I followed his eyes to the recorder and noticed that nothing was recording. And I think David knew, but I think he was trying to be cool about it. And so I went like, oh, like in my head, I was like, oh, fuck. And I just like very calmly hit the record button and kept going like nothing had happened. And then my dumbass, right after we finished, the first words out of my mouth to Sam and Isaac are, I was like, so I didn't record. And they went, what the fuck? And I'm like, and then I did. Everything's fine.
It was really funny because it was because he said that, and me and Isaac immediately were just like, what are you talking? Like we both flipped, and he was like, but I caught it. We only got like 3 minutes, and the rest of it got it. And we were just looking at him. I was like, you got to lead with that, brother. What are you doing?
Yeah. So when you're listening to the interview, if the first 2 minutes sound like it's just like a lot of room tone and yada, 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 I mean, obviously in the edit, I'm going to try and clean it up as best as I can. But for the first couple of minutes, you're going to hear kind of like a couple different iPhones recording voice memos. You're going to hear like the room recorder in the middle of the room. It won't sound fantastic, but then once the actual recording kicks in, I'm going to cut to that audio. So just as an FYI, the whole thing is not going to sound like garbage, just the first couple minutes. So I apologize.
Actually, there's a picture on I guess all the social medias.
Yeah, it was
the
a picture.
exact moment that Alessio
Yeah.
realizes it and he's hitting the record button.
Yeah,
on the
in the
field
photo.
mic.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's
it was.
insane.
You probably saw it on social media. I was using it as like a profile picture. We posted it on our Instagram, some other places, but like the yeah, I'm holding a microphone, talking to David. David's looking at me, asking him a question. Alessia just kind of like leaning over, and I think we just like the moment caught. Where were you when the moment was caught on film?
Yeah, I think if you pinch and zoom enough, you can see the horror in my eyes.
Yeah, if you really look closely.
Yeah, but yeah, this is crazy. What did you guys think of talking to David?
That's right. No,
that was a blast.
Yeah,
it was a little nerve wracking because, like you said, it was the first interview we had done in person, and all the interviews that I guess I had been on in the past, up to that point, we were able to kind of like have our own kind of conversations to try to like figure out, huh?
Be in our underwear? Is that what you're trying to say?
Be comfortable.
I wasn't able to lay vertical in my bed whenever.
Right? Yeah, I wasn't able to like secretly go and pee while the interview was going on.
But no, yeah, we were able to usually kind of figure out questions like who's asking what, and it was kind of just very ad hoc with David Hayter.
Just staring at us. He was like, "What are you doing? What's going on? How are we doing this?" And it's just like, "Oh no.
Yeah. And honestly, and I think, and it was our first in-person one. I think just for the nature of it, is like it was such a last second thing that I think perhaps we would have been a little bit more prepared had we had a little bit more notice, which is not anybody's fault, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, I think we did good under the circumstances, and we got like a nice tight amount of time with David. We got some fun answers from him, and had a good ass time.
Yeah, I think for a little extra context as well, like Emilio told us on Friday that he'd be willing to set up some time. We weren't sure when, and so I think that Friday night, with like booze in my system and just being half asleep at like 1 o'clock in the morning, me and Sam and Isaac watched a bunch of recent David Hayter videos. Isaac passed out.
It was so funny.
Then,
it was. I wish there was like somebody documenting that moment, because Alessia was sitting in my computer chair watching it. I was laying like. I was like kind of like half like laying, half sitting on one side of my bed, and Isaac was just like passed out, like his legs hanging off the end of the bed on the other.
What can I say, man? You got a comfortable bed.
Man knows how memory foam, baby. That man knows how to get comfortable.
Yeah, and so we cranked out the interview questions, not sure if we were going to have to interview David like Saturday morning or Sunday night or Monday. Like we didn't know what was going on. So we cranked them out, and then on Saturday, I don't think we had an opportunity to interview David. And then I think
it was like right at the end of the day on Saturday. It was like,
okay. I thought it was Sunday.
Because it wasn't Sunday, because that was when we like really got into talking to Gerald and all that on Sunday.
That's right.
But yeah, so yeah, it was like he had maybe like 30 minutes left at the booth, and he was taking a break, and he was just like, yeah, let's knock this out at this point. And we did.
Yeah, very sweet guy. David was super kind. I will say, very funny guy. Like, and I don't mean funny like funny ah ha ha ha, but like funny like subtle, like very subtly clever and quick.
Yeah, he's very like he's a very intelligent dude, and which like that wasn't in question in the first place, but just seeing it was just like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, very calm too. Like it's weird. I've never encountered somebody who's just so zen all the time. But I will say, I mean, just like the little things, like let it be known on record that David Hayter remembers details and is just like very kind about it. Because like not only like, and there's the panel video, which if you go on YouTube or check out the Paul Eiding post on our website, you can click the link to see the panel that Randall
Lang,
hosted. And David even remembered that like I was on his laser tag team in the middle of the panel, which caught me off guard and made me super happy. And then like when I think one of my favorite moments, and it may have been Saturday after the interview, it was Gwen, right? Gwyneth. His agent or booking person, she was like, okay, I think I remember your names. And she was like all weekend trying to remember our names. So she was like Isaac, Sam, and then she looked at me and what did she say? She was like
Artissimo.
Artissimo.
That's right.
And then I was like, no. And she was like, oh, Alfredo. And then I was like, come on. Even David remembered my name. And David looked over and he goes, hey, Alfredo. And I was like, damn. And then as we're going to leave, he goes, have a great night, Alessio. And just shoots me like a little smirk. And I was like, you son of a bitch. I love you. So very kind guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I think you guys are really going to enjoy the interview. This is going to be a little bit shorter because David was pressed for time. So I know typically we try to get an hour. But for this interview, we only had him for about half an hour. So, but I think it was a really good half an hour. And now we've got the perfect It's Just a Box.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Do you guys want to talk anything else about this, or should we just dive right in?
I think we've done our due diligence. Should we do our quick promo stuff? Just get knocked out.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and plug all the things. Yeah, if you like what you hear and you want to support the show, or get more show, or find everywhere that the show is,
or watch
you can
Mr.
go to Metal
Show.
Gear Mondays. Yeah, you go to metalgearmondays.com, click our YouTube link, and then search Mr. Show. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, you can go to metalgearmondays.com to find all the episodes and all the posts with links and stuff. You can also find there all of our links to like Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, yada, yada, yada. If you want to support the show, you can also do so there as well. There's a link that'll take you to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/metalgearmondays. And you can also buy official Metal Gear Mondays merchandise, like cool t-shirts designed by Sam.
Hi.
At bit.ly/MGM store. Yeah, we're also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, it's Metal Gear Mondays everywhere except for Twitter, where it's Metal Gear Monday. Boys, where can they find you online? Sam?
You can find me on the internet at Sanjul. That's SANJUUL. You can also find me at various Red Robins across the East Side Seattle area. You'll understand that.
You'll find out. Yep. Yep. Isaac, where can people find you?
Hey, yeah. Just go to Doesn't Have a Twit, and that's where I'll be.
Doesn't have a twit.com, .co.uk, what, where?
Doesn't have a twit.co.uk.
Whoa.
Oh.
Jesus. Yeah. Isaac, if everybody tags him enough in our Discord channel, he might actually respond at some point. Isaac, didn't you jump in at one point and just say one thing and leave?
He did.
Did I?
I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember this.
Was that him or James?
Oh, no, it was James. James just like unannounced said something and then was never seen again.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, Sam and I are regulars at the bar that is our Discord server. But sometimes Isaac and James might creep in and wave and leave.
Mm-hmm.
Drive by.
Like, I hope I brought some more milk. I'll be back when the milk's gone bad.
Yeah. So our if you pay $1 a month, which is the minimum tier, you get access to our Discord, and then it goes up from there. $2 a month gets you an extra podcast and episodes, sometimes extremely early.
Yeah.
Sometimes the day before, sometimes an hour before. It really just kind of runs the gamut. But usually we try and be at least a week or two early. So yeah, you can find me at AC Summerfield on pretty much everything. ACSummerfield.com. I've got to update all that stuff. It will probably be updated by the time you listen to this because your boy is moving to New York City.
Whoop, whoop.
I got to make a good impression. So, yeah, fuck it. Let's just jump right in. Hey, David, how are you?
Hey, guys.
Don't do that.
Yeah, here's the interview.
All right, well, we're here live from Renton City Retro with David Hayter. Mr. Solid Snake and Stuff, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure to have you. It's been a pretty great weekend so far. Have you been enjoying your time here, or?
Been having a great time. I don't know if you told your listeners yet about our epic laser tag game last night,
Not
Solid
yet.
versus Liquid.
Not quite yet.
Well, they'll tell you that whole story, and that was pretty awesome. And yeah, had a great party last night. Great, very nice day meeting all the people today and seeing the booths and hanging out, and I expect it to continue to be excellent.
Very cool. We'll just jump right into it here. You do a lot of events like this, and with your screenwriting and with everything that you do with acting and what have you, I imagine you're very busy. What keeps you coming out to things like this? What keeps you coming back to interact with fans?
I think primarily my mortgage. I live in a pretty expensive house, so no. I mean, yes, that is a big factor. But it is, you know, we're here with Gerald Rivers and who does M. Bison, and it's his first time, and he's like, why are we even doing this? And I'm like, after you start doing a few, it's really fun, and the people are so nice, and you get to go to all these amazing cities, and every city I go to, I look up like the 3 best restaurants in town, and I go to those, and you hang out with celebrity. I've gotten to know Cary Elwes and Sean Astin and all the Back to the Future guys, and Leah Thompson, and it's kind of fun. It's like being a touring musician, but it's not as much work. You sort of just go and people tell you you're awesome all day, and then you go out for a big fun night, and then you fly home.
It's a good ego booster.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's the travel of it is a little bit wearing, and you got to be on a lot of planes and stuff, and that's sort of a pain in the ass. But the actual events are always fun and unique, and it's always an adventure. So last night we got to play laser tag, which I'd never done before.
Neither had Cam Clark.
No, but he did pretty well. He didn't win, but he did pretty well.
Hey, David.
Hey.
Really quickly, this is super surreal. So we've been doing this Metal Gear podcast for about 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
Started out as two friends who had played every game in the series and 2 friends who hadn't.
Right.
So we had a 4-person round table. We would book club go through every one of the games, kind of in chapters.
Right.
And it's only recently that it became interview focused.
Right.
And Cam was he kicked the door open for us to do these.
Oh,
and
cool.
After Cam, everybody was we talked to Jeremy Blaustein, who translated the first game.
Of course.
Yeah. And it's one would lead to another, and then another, and then another, and the whole thing's been super surreal, and this feels like the pinnacle of the surreality of it all.
Now it's the Holy Grail.
So for us, this is probably the most surreal thing. For you, I wanted to ask, have you had any super surreal moments at conventions? Have you found yourself starstruck before?
Oh, starstruck?
Or just weird fan interactions? Or...
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I signed a guy's prosthetic leg a couple weeks ago, and that was kind of cool. And I get a lot of military members of the military, and a lot of them that say they joined up because of me, and I'm like, please don't say that. Because that's a lot of pressure, and a lot of special forces guys and stuff like that. And I got to I met Barry Bostwick and Little Nell from Rocky Horror Picture Show not too long ago. I got to have lunch with Wallace Shawn from
That's inconceivable.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, I get to do some really cool stuff. So like I say, each different place is a new sort of feel and adventure and city. I was in Dublin in November, and that was awesome. I was in Dublin. I went out for drinks with Stephen Ogg, who plays Trevor in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
And I was
He's in Westworld and
and I was like, we're gonna get into a brawl with somebody, and, and he's just this big, intense guy, and he's sort of in everybody's face, and then I was like, oh my god, we're gonna get in a brawl, and he goes, oh no, I can't fight, man, I don't know how to fight. He's like,
he was ready for it.
Oh no, like I'm gonna have to handle this whole thing.
Oh
no. But yeah, it's a lot of great experiences.
That's awesome. Kind of to follow up on that, we as we've been kind of going through and collecting these Metal Gear interviews in this weird way, I guess, we've kind of encountered that, with Cam, he spoke today, they sort of show up, they read their lines, they're there in the moment, they do a killer job, but for some folks, they just kind of move on, and yet, everyone that we've talked to has always been oh, you need to talk to David, he's the guy who's, invested. Right. And so I wanted to ask, what is it about Metal Gear that do you find it, an obligation to be invested? Are you genuinely invested? I'm sure.
Yeah, both. I mean, I because I spend my time talking to thousands of Metal Gear fans, I like them to feel that I know the mythology and the story and everything. I don't understand all of it, and I don't follow all of it, but I know it better than most of them. I mean, like you say, when we do a Metal Gear game, they put me in a booth, and then for months they just bring in the best actors in the world to come and do scenes with me, and they come and they go, but me, I'm there for the whole thing. So me, and then Christopher Randolph, who plays Otacon. We're a little more invested for the long run, and I have a better understanding of it, and also because I played the games myself, and I love them, and so a lot of my information comes from playing them. Because sometimes from the script you don't really understand the context of what's happening. So.
Were you a gamer before, or did this kind of kickstart you? And kind of...
Oh no! Ever since they invented Pong, and since they invented. When I was 12, they invented arcades, where you had stand-up consoles, so I've been doing it since the beginning, and then I should have grown out of it about the time they came out with the PlayStation, but then they came out with the PlayStation, and I was like, I could have this in my house? Like, what are you talking about? So, I used to have an Intellivision from Mattel, like when I was a little boy, and so I've been doing it for forever.
I can't remember if it was yesterday at the party or at the panel, but you had mentioned something about staying up till 4 a.m. playing.
Oh no!
A game
it was an interview that we watched last night.
Oh yeah, we watched. What was it?
The Electric Playground.
Yeah,
that you did 2 months ago.
Yeah, you were talking about how you stayed up. What have you been playing recently, as far as just to keep yourself busy?
It's so fun. I'm obsessed with Civilization 4. That's probably what kept me up till 4 a.m. And I just rediscovered Battle for Middle-earth 2 on the Xbox 360. So that's an amazing game. I've been playing the new God of War. Nice. What else? Oh, Victor, who did that interview, he recommended the Kingdoms of Amalur from 2012. So I got that, and I've been playing that.
It's a weird Kurt Schilling, the baseball player, was the one who invested in that game.
Oh, is that right?
Very strange. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool game though, so just stuff like that.
That's awesome. So this is kind of a pet question from me. So Castle Cagliostro, the Lupin movie, was one of my favorite movies growing up.
It's amazing.
The fact that you were the voice for the original English dub is insane.
It wasn't the original. There was an English dub by Bob Bergen, and that was before me. I think in the late '80s, and then I did mine in '93. I was working with a studio in California that was doing anime dubs en masse, really bringing anime to the States. And so they just called me up, and I'd been doing this. So it was me. The big actors there were me, Steve Blum, and Bryan Cranston.
Oh wow!
Yeah, before we all had our big breaks, and and they'd pay us $50 an hour, and we'd do these things. So they asked me if I would come down, and they were like, "We want you to play the lead in this movie," and I'm like, "Well, all you have to do is ask." And so I did, and then we were doing. We started with the big car chase at the beginning of that film, and I was like, this is an amazing movie. It's really beautifully directed. And I don't think I found out for another decade that it was Hayao Miyazaki's debut film. So that was really a huge honor to have had a part in that.
Right on. Yeah. Did you? So have you and Stephen Blum worked together? Because I know. So you also played Zadornov in Peace Walker.
That's
for
right.
Metal Gear. So
Zadornov.
That's our one in. That's the one thing.
Somebody polished Zadornov.
I make that joke all the time.
Oh, do you? Oh, good. I thought I just made it up.
I was like, that's our one way to get him on the show eventually at some point. But he's done so many iconic voices. So do you guys work together after Lupin and all that, that time frame?
Well, just for Peace Walker, I think we're in things together. But in terms of working together in the booth, the last one was Peace Walker.
Okay. And so I was curious about that.
But I know him. I love him to death. I see him at these things.
Yeah.
In fact, somebody came up to me recently. I was at a con somewhere, and this guy's like, "Oh my God, are you who I think you are?" And I was like, "Yeah, probably." And he goes, "Oh my God, Steve Blum, it's such a pleasure to meet you."
Jeez.
That's amazing.
I was like, "Well, close,
Well, because I was going to ask, I know a lot of the folks that we talked to, other than Debbie Mae West, essentially said that they kind of walk in, do their isolated kind of reading, and walk out. And Debbie specifically had said that she was in the room with you doing some of those scenes for MGS1.
Yeah, almost all of them are. I really, before we would do any of those games, I'd insist that we do the scenes together because they're so cinematic, and I wanted to make sure that that it was playing naturally, that it felt like we were really talking to each other like we are now, you know. And so really a lot of the games, some people had to record on their own because of timing. But for the most part, like Metal Gear 3, we had a booth with 5 chairs set up, and they'd bring in like all the people and we'd act them out together.
You've kind of mentioned, we heard on your panel that that you were called in by Chris Zimmerman, or Jennifer Hill, depending on who you ask.
Called in by Chris, possibly at Jennifer's urging.
Yes. What was the audition process for Snake like? What was...
I went to this weird house in Hollywood that had been converted into a sound studio, and the Yoji Shinkawa artwork was up on the walls, and I sort of got an idea of what that was. Then they gave me the sides. I went outside, I practiced them, went into the living room, which had been turned into this sound booth, and I just auditioned, and that was it. I just read a few scenes, and then about a week later, Jennifer Hale called me and said, "You're going to be in this show."
Do you remember who you auditioned with, like who you talked to and read scenes with, or was it just like Snake?
It was just Chris. Okay. Oh, what scenes? Oh, yeah. No, I just read Snake, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Got tiny font over here.
Yeah, I have to like squint to read. This is your fault. So I think we'd be remiss in asking if we didn't ask this, and you can feel free to pass on the question. But
I will. Yeah.
Did you ever speak to Chris or anybody else about auditioning for Snake or coming back for 5 at all, or did you?
Yeah.
Were you just kind of blindsided by that?
No, I both. I was. I knew that they were gearing up for 5, and so I was down at the studio where we recorded 4, and one of the producers was there, and I said, "Well, why don't we get a beer?" And so we got a beer, and I said, "I understand you're gearing up for 5. Should we start talking about the deal?" And he said, "Yeah, we won't be needing you on this one." So that was it.
Came out of nowhere.
Yep.
Wow.
That was it. That was the end. Yeah, it sucked. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It was a little. I mean, I you work in Hollywood long enough, you take the ups and you take the downs, but that was kind of rude. So, yeah.
So you mentioned that Snake Eater was your favorite game from the series.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any good favorite memories, I guess, from the recording sessions? Anything that you had with other the cast members?
Well, I mean, recording the stuff with Lori Allen with the boss was amazing. Like that end sequence with her it's just so tragic and beautiful, and that was pretty cool. But I mean, working with Jim Piddock as Major Zero, and Eva, who I'm not going to tell you who she is.
That's a secret to this day that we.
It's
have
a
no
secret
idea.
to this day. Well, I have an idea, but she's really awesome, and doing all the the movie stuff with Paramedic was really cool, and yeah, it was all really fun, that game.
Was that also very similar to your experience with 1, and where you recorded together with everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, everybody was together on that one.
Very cool.
So yeah.
You talked about Lori and the boss.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of debate in the fan community and within the games themselves, really, about what the will of the boss is.
Mm-hmm.
People fight over it. That's like the whole thing with Zero and Snake and Big Boss and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any kind of interpretation on what she wanted in the end, the boss's will?
I believe she explains. I mean, it's been a while since I played it or read the script, but I believe that what she was doing was weakening the Soviet position from the inside, and to do that, she had to pretend to turn traitor. But in the end, she was doing it on behalf of her country, and sort of illustrating that sometimes you've got to give up everything you love and believe in to protect the ideal of what you're fighting for. So I'm pretty sure that was the will of the boss. There may be more debate, and there may be people who know it in more detail than I do, but that was the gist that I got.
crazy.
Well, I'm sure they will. But in the end, the fight was very clearly, she wanted me to win and she needed me to take her out. And that, and it's so amazing because, typically you're fighting a villain and you want to take them out. And this time you don't want to. And they force you to pull the trigger on her. And it was just such an amazing, brilliant sort of mind manipulation,
I don't mean to completely age myself and my cast members, but
please.
I think I was like 16 or 17 years old, staying up in this kid's bedroom, playing with headphones on, because he never even knew what the hell Metal Gear was, and I had like just got put him on blast, like? I just got to the end of the game, and I wanted to like finish it, so I brought it to his house, and I'm just like headphones on in the corner on a little TV, just like playing, and just like silently crying during the end of that game.
Oh yeah.
So it's super powerful. But I wanted to ask you, speaking of bad guys, our listener of our show, Liquid Metal Mike, he wanted us to ask you, do you have any personal favorite enemies or villains that Snake has dealt with?
Yeah, well, Sniper Wolf, and her death scene was incredible, and Tasia Valenza is still an old friend of mine. And there's so many. Vulcan Raven and Psycho Mantis, and let's see, there's Phil Lamar as Vamp, which is pretty awesome, and Metal Gear Ray, Metal Gear Rex, the Shagohod, the Boss, the Pain, the Fury, the Sorrow.
You're just listing all of them now, David.
Yeah, because I love them all.
Wild.
And then the final fight with Liquid Ocelot on the submarine in Metal Gear 4. That was astounding.
Right.
So yeah, look, I'm as big a fan as most people, so yeah. I like a lot of them.
Yeah, we're excited. I think in June we might be talking to Phil. So
great.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But yeah, to get to the end of our specific like Metal Gear questions, we do have a little bit of a super quick speed round for you after this.
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to ask you, and I've been dying to ask you this question, as somebody who now is, I would say more so now, like kind of deep into professional screenwriting. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts on the script that you were reading for any of these games? Like, what did you think of the dialogue? What did you think of the writing while you were, whatever you can say, of course. I don't want to.
Say no more.
No. Well, look, Kojima's writing is very different from my writing, and a lot of it is strange and elliptical, but a lot of that is also kind of the nature of Japanese storytelling, which is not quite as linear as Western sort of three act structure, and yeah, some of it was very weird, and some of it I didn't understand why that guy was meowing, for example. Or I didn't know. Anybody does. Yeah, I didn't know what Kuwabara meant or anything like that. And and sometimes I'd say, can we change this to something that makes sense? And they'd say no, and so I'd say okay. So we just do it, but the impact of the writing on the fans, lines that I didn't necessarily, I was kind of like, I don't really understand this, have profound impact on people, and so you can't argue with that level of resonance and the fact that people just really got something huge out of the writing of it. So I think they're, the games are very, very long. There's a lot of talking and so on and so forth, but at the same time, that's just the nature of what Metal Gear is. So to succinctly answer your question, I couldn't have written them that way, but the way they're written is why they're Metal Gear. So it's so difficult to have a unique voice as a writer, as a creator, and not have it sort of whittled down to its simplest elements. So some of it confuses me. Some of it I'm like, wow, that's weird. But for the most part, I'm like, what? It's an incredibly epic story. And because it's so elliptical, you're like, there's always edges you can look around, and there's always more that you want to find out, that you don't quite understand the whole thing. And that's a really compelling talent as well. So yeah, it's a whole rainbow of feelings there. Yeah.
So we want to hit you with a quick speed round of questions.
Right. Speed round.
Number 1. Solid Snake or Big Boss?
That's right.
Perfect.
Huey or Hal?
Oh, Hal, come on.
This one's a little bit longer. What do you think Sunny and her two dads did at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4 when it was all said and done?
That's Otacon and Snake.
Yeah, Otacon and Snake were the two dads, by the way.
I'm going to say they sat down to a big dinner of eggs.
Very
prepared
good
by
answer.
Sunny.
Very good answer.
Yeah. See, I know my canon.
If you could write your own plot for a Metal Gear game, what would be like your log line, like your quick elevator pitch for it?
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't answer that because I might end up writing on a Metal Gear or something, and I can't.
fair.
It wouldn't. If I started talking about it, I couldn't use it anymore. So I'm sorry.
Which do you find more difficult, screenwriting or voice acting?
Oh, screenwriting. Yeah, I mean, voice acting is. I mean, it's not easy. It takes a lot out of you, but it's so fun. I mean, it's just a blast to do every single time, even when it is difficult. And screenwriting, I love it, and it's very fun and it's very fulfilling. But it's a lot of work. And Lawrence Kasdan says it's like having homework for the rest of your life. And that's what it is. I mean, it's a huge amount of rewriting. You have to, you write something that you love, and then the studio's like, well, we don't like this, so you got to do it different, and so you got to change it around. And so it's a lot more stress, screenwriting. But I mean, it's a great way to make a living.
I off script wanted to ask you super quick speed round response. Are you excited for Watchmen, the HBO series? It's coming out soon.
Yes. Yeah. I'm curious to see what that's all about. I mean, part of the thing about Watchmen is and this is what I had to illustrate to every studio that we had that movie with. It was the story that was really the driver of that world. It's not just the characters; it's the clockwork plot of that whole thing. So, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't have any inside information, and I hope that it's great, and I hope that it helps sell more copies of the movie. I don't know. I would find that a very daunting task to write a new version of Watchmen. I mean, you're really competing with Alan Moore's masterpiece, and that's hard to do.
I think it's supposed to be after the movie, actually. So it's like in a whole.
It looks like it's
yeah.
I mean, it looks like Jeremy Irons is playing old Adrian. And,
Yep.
that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, it'd be very cool, but that responsibility would be pretty serious. It's like saying, can you write a sequel to Hamlet?
Right.
It's like, okay, maybe, I guess. But
Nice.
It's going to be tough to compete with the dialogue.
Perfect.
What's your favorite comic book author?
Frank Miller. And Alan Moore, but I mean...
Yeah, that goes it up.
But Frank Miller, I mean, to the combination of him and his artwork, I mean, he's just, some of those pieces are just my favorite thing of all time. His Daredevil run, his Dark Knight Returns, I mean, Sin City, it's astounding. It's astounding. He just floors me. And Neil Gaiman.
Okay. Oh, nice.
But mostly Frank Miller.
What's your current favorite band?
Oh, that's a good question. Favorite band? I don't know. Of all time, or just my current? What do I like now?
Yeah, what are you listening to?
I love Muse. They're kind of new to me, but they've been around for a while. And Imagine Dragons, I think, is really a great band.
Sweet. And second favorite movie, because we know what your first favorite movie is.
Raiders.
Yeah.
Jaws.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
I have a quick one to throw in there, really quick. So, obviously, X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
With Disney getting the Fox merger and everything like that, who would you cast as Wolverine if you couldn't get Hugh Jackman?
Oh, I don't know. It's so, it's so hard to, people are like, who did you envision as Wolverine when you were writing the movie? And I was like, me. I don't, because I started as an actor, all the characters I write are me in various, in a skirt, in an office, whatever. And so Wolverine to me is just Wolverine. He just exists. And anybody that I've envisioned putting into that role kind of limits it a little bit. Like I couldn't imagine, there's a lot of actors who do a great job, but I don't know. I mean, what you're going to need is somebody younger who's up and coming who can properly play that.
There's been some rumors about Zac Efron.
Okay. Well, he exists, and
Ted Bundy, Wolverine, same.
Look, I really like Zac Efron. I think he's a tremendous actor, and he's very, very handsome. But it's like you think, well, maybe Charlie Hunnam or somebody, because he's got such great viciousness. But it's like it's not all viciousness; it's also heart. And Zac Efron's got heart, but can he be that just like vicious killer? And maybe he can. I haven't seen the Ted Bundy movie. Wolverine is just such an amazing, complex entity that I don't know the younger actors well enough really I'm trying to think of somebody that I really love, but I don't know. I couldn't say offhand.
Nice. So we've got quite a few Canadian listeners. I think last time we checked is like 39% of our listener base is Canadian.
Oh, come on. Well, and in Canada, that's like 60%, eh?
Yeah, so I was going to ask, just because I know we asked Donna Burke to do this for our Aussie listeners, of which we have quite a few as well. Do you have anything that you want to say to the Canadian fan base out there?
Yeah, listen, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate you guys paying some attention to me. I'm just a young boy from Mississauga and making my way in the world. So go out there, and I hope you keep enjoying my entertainment, and I hope I'm not getting too big for my britches. And if I am, well, you know what? What the hell? You and me down by the bike racks, no buddies.
I love it. So yeah.
Ontario.
Yeah. My grandpa's from Ontario.
Right on, eh? You're all right.
So yeah, I think
Well, I can do it in Australian too, if you like.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we want to be respectful of your time. Obviously, we're just super grateful to have even been given an opportunity to even meet you.
Oh, thanks, man.
And so I just wanted to say on behalf of everybody who's followed us for this crazy 4-year journey, of which more people keep coming in, which is nuts. This is not just for us, this is for all of them. And literally they helped pay for flights for us to get out here.
Nice.
So I feel like we have to be the ambassadors for these people. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of every one of our listeners.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a joy to speak with you, and I appreciate each and every one of you out there that has been affected by Metal Gear, and I hope to meet you at one of these events fairly soon. But in the meantime, I just want to let you know, you're pretty good.
That was amazing.
So, and really quick, so we have a way we kind of meander around to get to how we close out our show. The guards in Metal Gear sneaking around in a box.
Yeah.
They say it's just a box.
Just
and
a
that's how we
box.
sign out.
Yeah.
Could we get Snake saying it's just a box to sign us out?
It's just a box.
Just a box.